welcome to my channel. For those of you who new, welcome. For those of you who are returning viewers, welcome back. Tonight we will be discussing spiritual reparations, and we have Kane Erica on, and we have Key Era on tonight. So what we will basically be doing, these Kane Erica is my godchild. Kiera is a potential godchild. And we're basically just going to be discussing and educating on what spiritual reparations are. Um, you guys can kind of put, if you want to talk to each other in the comments, maybe talk about your situations with spiritual reparations. If you want me to speak on um, anything that you went through or noticed within spiritual reparations, we can do that as well. So it just really depends. Okay, so you can go back on there now because I did it and I did it another way. When you for some reason when you set it up live, it was playing ads. So I don't know why I was doing that. So I just went back in and I redid it. So yeah. So it's not gonna show up like how it was showing up, like you guys was waiting to join and stuff like that. It's not gonna show up like that. But what it does show too, for those who are new or returning to my channel, if you would like to join my channel, you can do so as well by tapping the join button, and then all the information that you will need will be below. All right. So I do want to start off by educating you guys on what spiritual reparations is. Okay. Keep in mind that this is going to differ by culture. Each culture has their own definition of what spiritual reparations is. For my cultures, they kind of align with each other on what spiritual reparations are. Um, Spiritual reparations are anytime something happens to you, a family member of yours, a friend, coworker, etc., and the ancestors, the Loas, the Orishas, any spiritual being like the divine most high creator, they go in on your behalf and they reparate. Some of us call it karma. Hi, you guys. Some of us call it karma. Some of us call it, getting what you deserve. Um, some of us call it, haha, that's what you get. Some people say, oh, they done fucked around and found out. But the overall thing that I need you guys to understand is that anytime somebody does you wrong, hi, anytime, oh, you guys are so sweet. Anytime somebody does you wrong, these spiritual beings will reparate on your behalf. And they do not need your permission to do so either. Okay? I just need you guys to really, really, really understand that, because some people, they treat you guys wrong, and then they're under some illusion that you did something to them to cause them to be in the position that they're in. And it's not that you guys did anything, it's that you guys are divine chosen ones, and your spiritual team is not going to stand for you being treated a certain way. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, somebody was like, yeah, I understand that. So in my opinion, as Mambo, I've been telling you guys, don't gloat. Okay, gloating is very important for you guys not to gloat, because just as well as these spirits reparate on your behalf, they can teach you a lesson also, you know. And you don't want to be in that position where you're now being taught, you know, a lesson, and because it's very unfortunate, you know, the things that happen to people behind laughing, you know, at others. You know, like I get that a lot of these people have done things that were hurtful and harmful to you, but never gloat. So I do have to push that. Okay, I do have to push that. Okay, so moving forward, the origin of reparations, in my opinion, from my research, reparations started a long time ago. Okay, this is before any of us were thought of. Reparations started a very, very long time ago. And the reason why these things happened because these people were wronged. Even in my native heritage, when I went to the res and I was talking to them, they were telling me how they felt that America had to have so many wars just because of the things that the people had done to the people who were there first. And when they were telling us these stories, I was like, you know, that does make a lot of sense. You know what I'm saying? We look at things that happen in history and we're like, well, why did that happen? You know, or why did this happen? Why did that happen? Why was this town struck with illness? You know, and you know, why did so many people, you know, pass? And it's sad because women, children, men are involved in these situations, and there's like this big massive loss of life, and a lot of these people didn't even have anything to do with it, but they became a casualty of what someone else had done. So when you look at it that way, and then you look at the fact that, you know what, my actions played a part on what happened to all of these people, that's hard. You know what I'm saying? That's something that's really, really hard to deal with. Um Me growing up, even, I grew up in a household where I loved my parents who was taking care of me. But because they were not my biological parents, but they were my parents who took care of me. So I love them dearly. However, their families didn't feel the same way about me. You know, so like they would make jokes about me being an orphan. They would make jokes about my family not wanting me, etc., etc., etc. Over time, I began to see the most craziest things happen to these people. Um, not one of my first premonitions, but one of my most earliest premonitions was um, one of the men who lived in the home. Um, he was, I guess he was supposed to like grow up as my brother or whatever, but I kept having dreams that him and two other people were going to get shot. So me being a kid, I was scared. I told him, I was crying, and he was like, "Don't come here with all of that, putting that Haitian voodoo on me." You know, and I was like, "I'm not trying to put anything on you. I'm just telling you what I saw." And literally like a month before that, he was like treating me so bad. And you know, like I said, I had that dream for a couple weeks, and he and three other people got shot, you know. And when I found out about it, my dad who raised me came and got me from school, and he took me to the hospital. But the guy who's supposed to be my brother ordered me out of the room and was saying that it was all my fault. And I'm like, I'm a little kid. You know, I didn't do nothing. I was just trying to tell you that this was going to happen. Now, this is why it's important for you to understand your gift, because when you don't understand your gifts, you'll in turn start blaming yourself when these things happen. And I've had so many clients that have come to me and been like, I'm afraid of my gifts because every time somebody does something to me, something happens to them. But it's not necessarily you or your power that's making these things happen. You get what I'm saying? It's
Right.
actually your spiritual team reparating on your behalf. It's just like for all my Christians, they'll understand when the Bible said, "Don't touch my anointed." You see what I'm saying?
Right.
It's kind of the same thing, you know. If you've ever had a manager, who treated you like you were nothing, treated you like, you didn't deserve to be here, like, you wasn't valued, anything like that, talk to you any kind of way, and then your manager comes in and they're like, well, this happened to me, that happened to me, and it's just so stressful, and I can't deal with this, and I can't deal with that. And it's like, well, wait, what's going on? Why is this happening to this person? And a lot of times it's happening because of what that person has done to you. You get what I'm saying? So, like, and if they know you're into spirituality, they're going to blame you anyway, you know? So it's
Exactly.
like, this is why some people say, well, I practice openly. Some people say I have a closed practice, and that's up to you how you, decide to,
Mm-hmm.
open
Operate.
up or be quiet about your your practice. But it's my overall thing is, it's not you, you know. Do some people have the gift to get very upset and to cause things to happen? Of course they do. And a lot of times these things are out of their control. There was a situation where I'm big on gaming. Like, I'm very big on gaming because
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um gaming is a way that I can relax. You know what I'm saying? I can have fun with my family. I can, meet them at their level, especially with having, kids, right? So
Right. Right.
it's a great way to have family time by gaming. And we were gaming. We were playing Call of Duty. I'm not sure what Call of Duty it was at the time because this was like 7, 8 years ago. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
we playing the game, and all of a sudden, there's a knock at the door, and we all looking at each other like, who is that? Because we
Right.
have the type of household where, we communicate with each other. So if ain't nobody said somebody supposed to be knocking at the door, we don't know who it is. So I go open the
Right.
door.
Right.
Keep in mind, we were living in Texas, and it was October. So
Mm-mm.
out of nowhere, you already know what I'm finna say. Out of nowhere, it starts raining like cats and dogs. Okay, I'm talking about the wind is blowing so hard, people trash cans are literally going down the street. Okay, and I was just staring at the person who was at the door. The person who was at the door was my brother. He's my brother on my mom's side. Um, because both my mom and dad had other children, right? So
Mm-hmm.
my brother is like looking at me, and I really don't know what I was thinking outside of, why is he at my door right now, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really upset, and he grabbed my arm and he was like, "Are you doing that?" Now keep in mind, my mom gave me away, okay, to a woman who my grandmother knew as her priestess. You get what I'm saying? Um so the crazy thing about it was, hey, the crazy thing about it was, I'm sitting here and I'm like very upset, and you touch me and ask me, hey, um are you doing that? At that time, I wasn't thinking about that. I was just thinking, like, why are you here? Because it was something that he did that really upset me. basically. And he had told me, he was like, I feel like I'm not gonna see you again. And he wasn't, because we were actually getting ready to move before that had, before that had happened. But my family has this thing where I didn't understand it till I got older, but they would, how they say something happens every blue moon. Well, my family
Right.
would come check on me every blue moon, and I did not realize till I got older that it was to check on my gifts, to see how they had developed, to see what I could do. And as an adult, I decided to separate myself from them because they were getting karma left and right. Like, my mom was receiving all types of karma. My dad was receiving all types of karma, in what I call spiritual reparations. And I feel like that was because of the things that they did to me. So I also paid attention to how they tried to make it, right. But once you do something wrong, you can try to make it right, but then you have to go full force into making it right. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
You
Right.
can't half ass with making something right. You're either literally gonna make it
Exactly.
right, or you're not gonna make it right. And they didn't make it right, just to be honest. You know, they really didn't. And it's like, as I got older, I started to research, and I started to talk more to my elders about these type of things, because ultimately, when you don't know how powerful you are, your gifts will scare you. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I never knew at that point that I could control the wind like that, storms, and cause storms. But I began to notice that. And then when I met my dad would tell me how he was like, yeah, like, to be honest with you, you're probably one of the most powerful people in the world. Not saying that there are not other powerful people, but you're one of them, you know, and you have the gift to do these things. So he was like, imagine you getting mad and you getting upset and it causing an earthquake or a very bad storm in another country. And I'm like, that's too much pressure.
Right.
That's too much pressure, because how does someone with gifts, how are they supposed to, you get what I'm saying, how are they supposed to control their anger, when something, they're rightfully right within their anger, and that's
Right.
something that's not talked about enough. A lot of people are blamed, for their anger. They're not taught to, respect the fact, like, hey, yeah, you do have a right to be angry in this situation. So for me, yeah, a lot of those things happen that way. To some, they might be like, well, that's not a spiritual reparation. Well, for someone to do me wrong and then turn around and see the capability I have, that is a part
Right. Right.
of the spiritual reparations, because the things that happened to those people following that were just crazy. Like, my mom and my dad have never found happiness, you know but that is the divine saying, hey, look, y'all were not supposed to get rid of that child, and y'all got rid of that child, so this is how you have to suffer for it. you know and that's why I say spiritual reparations come in different ways. A lot of people who go into haunted houses, those people passed away in those houses. They died horribly, which is why
Right.
it's called a haunted house. So when someone ends up going missing while in that house, you get what I'm saying, on a tour, or you know how people are, they go on a tour of a haunted house and they're like, look, when everything is done and they're closed, we're going to go back up in there. You know what I'm saying? And some people don't make it out. Spiritual
Right.
reparations. You see what I'm saying? A lot of the people who email me have been asking me to talk about the water spirits, because the water spirits have been upset for a very long time. And the
Right.
water spirits are ultimately upset for different reasons. But one of the main things that people have been doing lately is they've been doing all this black magic. They've been doing all this work against the collective. And then they've been throwing the work in the ocean. Like, you get what I'm saying? Or in a lake or something like that. And then you hear about these areas being flooded. You get what I'm saying? And it's like, that's crazy. Like, one of my enemies, the divine and my spiritual team showed me in a dream that they were doing work on me. And I don't know if y'all remember this, but this happened some months back. Remember when wasn't it New Jersey that flooded? And they were saying like the whole, they were saying like the subway and stuff was flooded, and I was like, look, y'all have to stop doing things like that, because not only do you put yourself in danger, but you put other people in danger, you know,
Right, right,
cuz
right.
cuz you don't when reparations come around, you do not want to be a casualty.
Do not.
You know what I'm saying? You do not want to be a casualty, but you can end up being a casualty because of someone else's ignorance. You get what I'm saying? That's why this podcast is so important to me, because I feel like a lot of people who watch my channel, a lot of the people who, look at my videos, any type of content that I put up, they look at me in a one-sided way. Oh, she does baby readings. Oh, she does tarot readings. I'm more than just that. You get what I'm
Right,
saying?
right. Yeah.
I'm more than just that. I've seen a lot of things. A lot of people who watch my channel have seen some of the same things that I have seen. So it's like, you guys have to know and understand that, you're not tripping. You're not dealing with these things alone, because a lot of us are dealing with them too. And knowing how to face them is a whole nother thing. So what
Right.
tell me what spiritual reparation, before I get on any other stories, because these stories are going to be way these stories that I have are going to be way, 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 way deeper than anything that I've said so far. So what spiritual reparation stories do you guys have?
Oh, I got a few of them. I'll start because it's in within my own family too. Because my mom and her mom has like a different kind of relationship. I would say it's more so on the toxic end.
Mhm.
And so my grandma was like heavily into like drugs and just like off into other things.
Mhm.
And it would be times where, my grandma would probably get sick and my mom would be like, oh, it's the drugs. She just being a baby. She just doing this. So you just need to get it together. You just high,
Mhm.
it's not nothing wrong with your body. You just craving a drug.
Mhm.
And eventually, my grandma did one time started getting ill to where my mom had to take care of her. So
Mhm.
she had to move her into the house. She had to like be on her beck and call.
Mhm. Mhm.
And, as a kid, I'm kind of like, oh, Lord, like, oh my God, my household is hectic. And I remember one day my mom all of a sudden falling ill.
Mhm.
And the doctors couldn't tell her why. And I just remember her crying some nights, like, what's going on with my body? And my grandma was just like, maybe you should look at this specialist, go to this specialist and find out. And so around that time, my grandma had lupus.
Mhm.
And so my mom was like, no, that's not it. That's not nothing wrong with me. That's you. The drugs did that to you. And a year later, my mom found out she also had lupus.
Mm.
And so it was like, and so now her hair was coming out, and at her knees, she had a problem with her knees. She had a problem with her back. And these were the same things that was happening to my grandma. That
Mhm.
my mom sat there and was like, oh, no, it's the drugs. And it's the drugs you taking. And it's the men that you choosing.
Mhm.
And so I'm like, and that kind of, as a kid, because I had already had some things that I'm just like, oh, no, I know this ain't happening. Just kind of
Mhm.
making up
Mhm.
excuses. But I'm like, wow, like just you telling somebody that it's something else that they cause to themselves can easily become you.
Right.
And I literally watched my mom deteriorate. And even with me, it was another incident where I was pregnant. So I had what they call sciatica. I could
Mhm.
not walk. It was the most excruciating pain. And again, my mom, oh, you're being a baby. This your first baby, and you're just so dramatic. After
Mhm.
I had my baby, you guys, I kid you not, why my mom started experiencing sciatica firsthand.
Wow.
It was like,
Wow.
and I'm just like,
Wow.
Mom, you just need to not talk. Like, you just
Right.
No,
need to,
for real.
because it's like
Right.
you're placing yourself in these same situations. And I was just, and in my, and like you said, don't gloat.
Mhm.
But in my head, I'm just like, now you see how treacherous and painful it was for
Right.
this to be my first child and not having. I used to walk 3 miles to work, you guys, bus,
Mhm.
Wow.
trains, just to get to work. And she would be like, oh, you been a baby, all this and that. It's not that painful. And somebody had to step her aside and say, I get what you're doing, but this is actually something that's real that's happening to her. And now you're experiencing it. And so
Right.
it's
Exactly.
like sometimes it's okay to just be careful in which you say. And if somebody say they're hurting or in pain or they feel some type of way, it's not your judgment to say no, it's not happening to you. That's something else
Mm-hmm.
that you chose to do.
Right.
You
Right.
can't do that because you
Not
never
fall in
know
your
the other
head
side
or
of that.
something. No.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it's
Mhm.
like so. Yeah, that was my mom was a huge example of just hey,
And
chill. Sometimes believe
don't you
people in what
find
they
it
say.
crazy, not to cut you off, but don't you find it
Uh-huh.
crazy that it's the maternal figures that act this way?
Yes, because it also put a lesson in me as well. As now I'm raising a daughter, and the foundation in which I want me and her relationship to be. Because now when
Mhm.
she tells me something, I'm like, okay, it's happening for real. I
Right.
believe you. Like you don't have to
Right.
prove
Right.
that you are. I don't want her to prove that
Mm-hmm.
she is experiencing something. I want to believe it firsthand because I'm your mom, and that's just and I
Mm-hmm.
know, like, I've already had instances in my life to prove, like, hey, if somebody tell you something, trust it. It's
Right.
on them to be truthful or not. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So, yeah, that it definitely shaped me in how I teach my daughter things and allow her to have that space and opportunity to just your feelings is genuine. Don't let anybody tell you that they're not. So,
Cuz like
yeah.
I say,
Right.
I'll tell you
Right.
a story, but I won't tell you a lie, you know?
Yes,
Exactly.
I'll
yes.
tell you a
Exactly.
story, but I won't tell you a lie because when I met my husband, like when I the day that I met him, I knew that he was different from anyone that I've ever met before. And before I met him, my mambo set me down and we did a reading, and she was telling me how this man was coming into my life, and he was, that how I would also, because of being with him and him being with me, we would meet
Mm-hmm.
all this different type of adversity. You know what I'm saying? Because people had been trying to tear us apart for eons. You know what I'm saying? Because
Mm-hmm.
in each life we've pretty much found each other. So what shocked me as odd is when my husband found me, I found my husband, and we began to, advance in our relationship, moved in together. All of a sudden, out of the blue, here comes my family, my biological family. And
Uh-huh.
it's it's
Don't even be
weird.
nosy.
It's weird because I was at work and he was watching our newborn, and he called me at work and he was like, so your grandma just came? I'm like, huh? My grandma? He was like, yeah, your grandma and your sister just came over here. So I'm like, well, what the hell did they want? Because I'm really trying to
Right.
figure this out at this point. And he's like, well, they wanted to talk to you, but you wasn't here. So I'm like, okay. So I get home. He was telling me how she had left a number and everything. So literally, after I called my grandma, I talk to my grandma. My grandma shows up again. Um, while I'm there, she's telling me again what to do with my life and how to live it, XYZ. And
Uh-huh.
all of a sudden, after my grandma leaves, I pay attention to the fact that everybody
Uh-huh.
in the house, okay,
Uh-huh.
everybody in the house is now arguing with each other. Okay, now this is weird. This is very weird because at the time I did not know about the salt and pepper thing. But I
Uh-huh.
do remember after she left that particular day when I called her and everything, I do remember when I was walking on the walkway, I could hear something crunching. You know what I'm saying? If you've ever
Uh-huh.
walked on salt before, you know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Um,
Right.
and 9 times out of 10, you've walked on salt
Uh-huh.
because it was snowing or something like that, or you were trying
Uh-huh.
to
Uh-huh.
border, your house off from evil or
Uh-huh.
something like that. So
Uh-huh.
I'm like, that's what that was that you stepped on. So I was like, okay, it's time to go to work. Now at this time, my mambo was out of reach. I could not reach her. So it was like you had to do the work on your own. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So
Uh-huh.
I lit my candles because the first thing you want to do in a situation like that is you want to clear the energy. So
Uh-huh.
I tell everybody, get Palo Santo is the best. Palo Santo and
Uh-huh.
Dragon's Blood are the two best cleansers, right, that you can use. So if everybody's in their room right now and you look up at your wall, you see the creases in the corner of your wall. You're gonna start
Uh-huh.
at the beginning. You're gonna. It's best to have a candle lit too. Okay, it's best to
Uh-huh.
have a candle lit because when you have a candle lit, you can continue to light that dragon's blood or that sage or whatever, right?
Uh-huh.
Whatever it is you're using, Palo Santo, whatever. So once it gets to smoking good and you don't blow it out, you let it go out on its own. All right, you want to
Uh-huh.
let it go
Uh-huh.
out on its own for the reason of a, it's gonna smoke longer.
Uh-huh.
B,
Uh-huh.
because you need to pay attention to the smoke. If the
Right.
smoke is coming off black, you need to call a spiritualist ASAP. You get what I'm
Uh-huh.
saying? Like if
Uh-huh.
you're not seasoned in spirituality, you want to call someone who is, so they can help you remove it out of your home. Um, C, contrary to popular belief, no one is supposed to come in your home and cleanse your home. You're supposed to cleanse your own home.
Uh-huh.
Okay,
Uh-huh.
because there is this big popular belief that someone is supposed to come in and do it for you. You can have people to come in and bless it, but at the same time, I'm gonna tell you a story of why you don't want people to come in blessing your home. Okay, um, so you walk down the side of the wall with the sides of the wall
Uh-huh.
with the smudge in your hand, and you make sure the smoke gets in that whole line on the side. When you get to the corners, you want to stand there for a bit and you want to hold the smudge in the corner, only because the smoke in the corners, negative energy resides in the corner. Okay,
Right.
like have you ever you if you got kids, you've probably heard them say, I saw a monster in the corner of my room or in this particular area of my room, and that would be because that's where that energy lies, within the corners. So when you do the corners, you want to do the top corners and the bottom corners. I did not say this, so I am going to say this now. The first thing you want to do is open up all the doors and all the windows. If not, you're just going to have a whole bunch of negative, evil, toxic spirits dancing, twerking around in your space. And you don't want that. Um,
Okay.
and for those who are going to say, well, it's cold, I'd rather it be cold than for you to continue to have that energy in your house. You get what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
you know how, like, when the football team comes out and they're getting ready to play the game and they all rush out.
Uh-huh.
Imagine
Uh-huh.
spirits trying to rush out like that through one area. You get what
Uh-huh.
I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
Something's going to get
Uh-huh.
left behind, or something's going to attach itself to someone else. And you have to pay attention with these attachments too, because even going to certain places, like I was saying about going to haunted lakes and going to haunted houses, you can leave with attachments. You get what I'm
Uh-huh.
saying? Especially when your energy is low, which is why it's highly essential for you to vibrate higher. Okay?
Uh-huh.
So
Uh-huh.
once you get your whole room done, you move on to the next room. And you move on to the next room and the next room. Then after you do all of that, you want to have you some protection floor wash. You want to have you some hex breaking floor wash. Um, and you can, like with my floor washes, you can even like if you can only afford one or the other, you can take the floor wash and pour it in a bottle with like some Florida water and like some hex breaking water, and you can
Uh-huh.
spray it in the corners, protection water. You can spray it in the corners of those areas, everywhere where you've smudged. You want to put railroad spikes up. Okay.
Uh-huh.
If you don't have any, you can always reach out to me and I can get them for you, because I do sell them. But I don't sell them on my site. There are a lot of things that I sell that are not on my site, only because y'all know how, just like someone is going to watch this video, this live, to get information on how to do things spiritually, someone's going to go on these people's sites, and try to buy
Uh-huh.
things that can harm people. Because the thing about spirituality is these things can be used for good or evil purposes. It just depends on the intention of the person, right?
Right, right,
So,
right.
with the railroad spikes, you can do a lot with that. Okay, like even if you're dealing with a situation in your life right now where you feel absolutely stuck, 9 times out of 10, somebody's used some type of foot track magic, dealing with banishment and dealing with railroad spikes. Okay. These are all hoodoo remedies. You know what I'm saying? These are all hoodoo spells and things like that. So you have to be real careful. Foot track magic is old school hoodoo. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Which is why they say be
I
careful where you
experienced that
walk.
one.
Huh?
So that was experienced that one.
Yeah, the foot track magic. Oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah. Cuz I've had to help her with that one. You know, and with her and her enemies, like they've even used, so like in my Haitian tradition, um we don't really refer to cats as cats. We refer to them as alugawus, because a
Mm-hmm.
spirit of a witch can be in a cat, and that's a lugawu. Okay. And the
Mm-hmm.
reason why they hide in these animals is to basically cloak themselves and appear one
Uh-huh.
way when they're actually another. um we can go through that like in another episode, and like I
Uh-huh.
can tell
Uh-huh.
you guys more about lugawus. But you do have to
Uh-huh.
be very cautious when it comes to cats and dogs, because in the Haitian tradition, and this is one reason why I don't talk to my father. I wanted to find my father my whole life, but when I found him, uh-uh, just no. He practices, but he practices only dark magic. Okay. And his magic, it works. It works, but does he receive spiritual reparations? Yes, but it doesn't matter, because he's still gonna, you get what I'm saying? Like, he's
Right.
he's
Right,
he's
yeah.
still gonna wake up and choose violence, basically.
Yeah.
So
Uh-huh.
and there are stories about my father. If you go on my channel and type in Lineage Witch Chronicles, you can read or will listen to those stories, and you'll see why I don't be around my father. But
Uh-huh.
even with him, I've learned things that he could do and the extent of the power of it. And you said something about speaking. Okay, so this, when you said that, I was like, wow, that's crazy, because why would she say that? Because I did an episode on that about my father, where my father was upset with his child's mom. And when my father came to live with us, I told him, you can bring, because it's a lot of us, it's 27 of us, 27 or 33 of us, but I lose track sometimes, but it's a lot of us. And he I told him, you can bring them, because at the time they were the youngest, and they didn't want to feel like they were losing their dad. So I was like, you can bring them, you can bring, their mom. That's completely fine. Well, him and the mom always had issues and problems. So one day he's like downstairs and he's like completely upset, and I'm like, what's going on? Now, I did try to stay away from him because he was always like have this negative energy. So he was just like, I hate my baby mama. I hate her. I hate her. And I was like, well, don't say you hate her. Just say you dislike her. And he was like, no. He was like, no, I hate her. I want something bad to happen to her. You know. And I'm not going to say word for word what he did, but he had a piece of paper in his hand. He stuck that piece of paper in his shoe and began to stomp on it repetitively. You know what I'm saying? So, like, but before he put it in his shoe, he was like blowing on it and chanting things, put it in his shoe, stepped on it. And I did not say that in the video that I did, because I didn't want to put, that out there. I'm not going to put it all out there, but he was saying, he was saying that he wanted something really, really bad to happen to her. So not even 3 months later, she was in a very bad car accident. She was in the hospital for a month or more, I believe, and she passed. You know, and she passed. And when I found that out, when I had to listen to my little sister and my little brother cry to me about their mom, I was like, I can never deal with my dad again, because they don't know the truth. I do. Okay. So it was at that moment that my dad began to poison them against me. You know what I'm saying? Like, and tell them I was just this bad person and this, that, and the third. But they were still asking me for money. They were telling me like they wanted these new shoes, wanted a phone. So like I was sending them money, or I was buying things and like having it sent to them, things like that. But it came to a point where I stopped, because the money that I was sending to them, they was giving it to my dad. And not just my dad, but my aunt. So crazy thing. Were they receiving reparations? Right? Yes, they were receiving reparations. He could not find a job. Like, things just got really, really bad for him. But he still continued to do dark magic. And it put me in the mind of this lady that I knew. She came to me and she was like, why am I having all these problems in my relationship? And I was like, well, the only magic that you do is dark magic. You need to stop doing that. And then this lady has her own land up in the mountain area. And she was saying how all the work that she's done, that, like all the bad work, she's buried it on her land. So now you've made right. It is retarded, but I'm exactly you. That was my words to her. I was like, why would you trap yourself into that energy? And I was like, see, this is why when people ask me to do black magic, when people ask me to do dark work, I don't do it. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm gonna tell you something. All these people who do love spells, do y'all, I want y'all, this is y'all homework for tonight. I want y'all to go on YouTube. I want you to go on TikTok. I want you to go Instagram, wherever it is, whatever platforms you use, and I want you to look up love spells gone wrong. Okay, you will find people, spiritual reparations. Okay, all right. This is the version of fuck around and find out, because
Right, right.
you can't you can, but you're not supposed to mess with destiny. You get what I'm saying?
Right,
You're not
right,
supposed to
right.
mess with a person's free will. And there are people who literally they go and say, well, I like this person, or I want this person, and they do spell work on that person. And when they do spell work on that person, things don't turn out good for them at all. You know what I'm saying? And there was this one incident I saw where this girl had locked herself in the bathroom, and the dude was like beating the door down trying to get in the bathroom. But you have to remember what you asked for. You have to remember that you
Right, right,
asked for
right.
him to love no one but you, to be with no one but you, for you to be on his mind all the time. Now he's so obsessed that he's literally beating the door down trying to get to you because you've locked yourself in the bathroom. You know, um, a lot of us have watched First 48, and we've seen women who've passed away, and people are like, what happened? What did she do? She ended up, they're not going to tell you this because they a lot of them probably don't even know. But because of social media, you end up finding these things out, and these women, they end up unalived because this man, they don't want him no more. Do you know how many people do spells and then decide that they don't want this to be no more? you know so then the man, he goes and he harms her, you know and when the police are asking the question, they're like, sir, why did you do it? He's like, I don't know, I think I blacked out. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know. There was a case on the news like that just today where a man said, "Hey, look, I think I did something bad. I think I blacked out." Now, I'm not saying that these men are right. I'm not saying that these men are justified in what they did. All that I am saying is that this is the reparation of the action. You get what I'm saying? Like, they reparate off whatever the action is. This is why, I stay away from certain workings, because the truth of the matter is, whatever energy you put out is the energy that's going to be returned to you. So if you put out negative energy all the time, you can't expect to get positive energy. You're going to always receive negative energy if you're always being negative, you know? And like I said, if you guys follow me, if you guys watch my content, be prepared. Always have always have your notepad, your journal, your water, your blunt, whatever, your cigarette, whatever, your drink, your wine, whatever it is you need, because you're going to learn listening to me. Like, I can't help but educate people. I love educating people on things, and now that we have the platform to do so, we can use our experiences. We can use things that people that we know have been through to help educate other people, because the truth of the matter is, spirituality is trending, but spirituality is not a trend. You get what I'm saying? It is not a toy. It is not a plaything. It is a tradition. And when these spirits are not respected, oh, they respond. Okay? There was a man who bought a painting for Oshan, and he went to Oshan because he needed money. But this man fell on hard times. So instead of trusting the divine, instead of trusting in Oshan to give him what he needed, he sold the painting. That man had so much turmoil and problems. And Oshan showed up to him and said, I want my painting back.
Right, right, right.
And it just comes from people having a lack of patience. I've
Right.
noticed that nobody will sit and just let it, like even when you pray for something, and you just like, okay, I'm waiting around for it, and it's like it'll never happen because you're actually waiting for it to happen, and it's
Right.
not how that works
Like
at
fill
all.
out some applications in between time.
Yeah,
You
like
know,
like you gotta
try
put
to
the
try to
footwork in.
start a
Yeah.
business, because one thing I find that's not fair is to rely on the divine, to rely on Jesus, to rely on your ancestors, the Loas, the Orishas, whoever you pray to. Because I on my channel, I don't. Whoever you pray to is who you pray to. You know what I'm saying? We all have to find the creator our own way, and I respect that. So my thing is, how can you pray to someone and ask them to do something for you? What are you doing for them? Are you just praying to them all the time to ask them for something? You have to give them things. You have to, hey, thank you for helping me. Thank you for looking out for me that last time, cuz I didn't know how I was going to pay that light bill, but you looked out for me. You have to do things in a way where you're just not coming to them just for something, because the truth of the matter is, these people who are playing with these cultural traditions are not understanding or overstanding that these people, they ain't got nothing but time. Okay, they don't have nothing but time, so they can make you wait. They can play with you. You know what I'm saying? They can make your life a living hell if you choose to go down that road with them. And that's why I don't understand why people play with the divinely chosen, because you're yeah, the divine is gonna reparate it. It keeps coming up in my readings, even in even in the recording that I did, that's gonna air this week. um it's it time and time again I see it, where it's literally saying the same thing, like, hey, look, we're not playing with these people. We are not playing with these people, and we are going to do what we have to do to justify you. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I say, like, another thing that people don't understand either, that karma, revenge, and reparations are pretty, they're like triplets. That they're a triple, they're triplets, they're a triple threat. And you have seen these things happen in movies. Django was pretty much a whole movie about Django getting his reparations for his wife. You know what I'm saying? In the movie Alice, you see her getting her reparations for how she was treated. And that movie, for those of you who haven't seen it, Kiki Palmer is in that movie. You know what I'm saying? Another person who got their reparations was an old slave. Well, she was young at the time, but old now, right? Her name was Celia. Go look up Celia, the slave, the young slave girl who got her reparations because her master kept essaying her. You know what I'm saying? Go look those things up. And when you find out, how that happened, what happened, you will begin to understand why things happen to people, because people will come to you and tell you, I don't know why these things happen to me. These things are just so bad. I've had so many clients come to me and tell me, well, I don't know why this happens. And after dealing with them, that I've seen how bad of a person that they are. You know what I'm saying? I've seen the other side of them, and I'm just like, I'm not trying to, again, we going back to the word gloat. I'm not gloating or anything, but I do see why the things that happen to certain people happen to them, because they don't do right by people. You have to do good. You have to do good, because when you don't do good, a lot of bad will happen, and you just have to do right by people. you know um I'm gonna just say this: the things that people try to do to other people, I would never. You know,
Whatever.
yeah, I
I don't
would,
have the time. I don't
yeah,
have the
I
time.
would never do that. Um, do y'all got any more reparation stories?
I do, I do, I do, I do.
Okay, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead,
Oh
go
yeah,
ahead.
go ahead, great.
Okay, so complicated little relationship situation. So my ex's baby mother, they have kids together, but I love them to death.
Mhm,
Um, I did something for the baby mother. Well, the
mhm,
baby father asked me to do something for her. I did just because of the kids. That's
mhm,
it. And however, she operated in bad faith and did not uphold her obligation. And so
mhm,
when I one day just happened to see her in the store,
mhm,
it took everything in me. Mind you, this is months later after she owes me $500. Okay.
mhm,
Um, saw her in the store one day. I was behind her, so I saw her first. And I just stood there, just not saying anything. I just didn't say nothing to her. Just went on about my business. She went on about her business because you
mhm,
know not to speak to me because you know you owe me.
mhm,
So we don't have anything to talk about except my money.
mhm,
Mind you, in this time, I've distanced myself from everybody, from the kids. Not that I wanted to, but it's just something that had to happen.
mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that really hurts my heart, but I do what I do.
Right,
So,
right, right.
um, here comes 2025, get a call on Messenger and everything. It's her calling me, because she don't have this number. I change my number almost every year. Don't
Mhm,
judge me.
mhm. I don't, cause I changed my location.
Yeah, listen.
You get on my nerves. um, so I changed my number so she ain't had his number. So she called me on Messenger. And so I ended up calling her back. Well, I had to check to make sure the baby father was not in jail or anything.
Mhm,
And then I called her back and was like, "What's up?"
mhm,
She was like, "Oh, I'm gonna come and pay you some of your money back this week or whatever." I was like, "Oh, okay. Well,
mhm,
look at here, the spiritual reparations. Thank you,
mhm, mhm.
thank you. I
Yeah,
appreciate it."
cause spiritual reparations come in the form of money too. You know, that's why I say
Exactly.
they come in different ways, but I think the way that we're mostly taught is it happens in a bad way.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
seen a lot of bad ways, you know. But
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
I've even seen people redeem themselves after being reparated against. They're like, okay, look, they're not playing. I gotta go do right, you know.
Right. Okay. Mhm.
So I've seen
And
that.
as bad as I wanted to go swing on her, I didn't. Luckily I had a bunch of stuff in my hands, but
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
just
thank me. I
I
be
just
having to gain self control in that because I know my mindset, and then like you said, how powerful your mind truly is, and
Right.
you can make your thoughts literally your reality.
Right.
Like,
Right. You
exactly
can.
and
exactly.
then and people don't understand that just by speaking words alone
Mhm.
holds
Mhm.
so much power because your intention behind it
Mhm.
is like you furious in a moment. You're like, oh my God, I want this to happen. And then when it happens, you're like, okay, no, I didn't do that. No, that wasn't me. Like you kind of psych yourself out because even
Mhm.
like I'm gonna tie it again into my parents. Like,
Right.
and I think this is why it's so important for parents to understand that no matter what you go through, you still need to have that line of respect, and
Mhm.
that your child should never know what's going on between the two of you because it has
Mhm.
nothing to do with them.
Right.
Right.
I
Right.
just remember days in which my mom would speak ill of my father, and that hate traveled into me. And so I'm not understanding why I'm so angry at a guy for it, like just little things. And it was times where she addressed me up, "Oh, your dad is on his way," and have me waiting. And so it created even more animosity in me because I'm like, okay, she told me to get dressed, and I'm sitting at this window and nothing's happening. He's not coming.
Right.
And so it was times where she would have that conversation in front of me or to her girlfriends and, "Oh, her dad is not this and her dad is not that." And I would hear that. And so I'm soaking it up like a sponge. And then I'm now projecting because,
Mhm.
okay, now my father is not around. So now you get boyfriends and now I'm being mean to them because I'm like, hey, you trying to replace somebody that I didn't
Right.
approve, and I felt like I had that sense of responsibility. And so it was a time where my dad, they got into an argument for something, and I'm in tears crying about it because I'm like, oh my God, it's my fault. I had to see my dad again. And it was just a moment of clarity of where my dad actually, I started having a cell phone. And so
Right.
instead of calling her now, he would just directly call me.
Right.
And so she didn't know of this. And I remember her getting so furious because she was like, well, how is she talking to him? And so she started taking my phone, or she like cut my phone off, or,
Right. Right.
just do things like that to create that relationship. So as I now grew older in my 20s, and I started having conversations with him, and I'm like, man, I understand you. And
Right.
it's like, so all this time I'm holding not my anger,
Right.
it was actually
Right.
hers.
Right. It was
And
a
it's like,
projection of hers.
yeah, and it's so crazy that even after he passed, me
Mhm.
and her relationship deteriorated.
Right.
Like
Sorry for your
now she
loss
is now,
too.
oh, thank you. And so now she is sitting in the same seat that
Mhm.
she has placed him in.
Right.
So it's like, I don't want to point the finger and say, ha ha, but it's like, that's another lesson in which
Right.
I have to now, because it's like, I don't want to be a bitter parent like that and then turn around and
Right.
have to be in that same exact seat you set up for him. And so it's just like people should definitely think about that aspect of it because it can go generation after generation. And if it
It
skip you, it
can.
can go to your kids,
It literally
grandkids. And so,
can if you allow it. And that's why it's so crazy how it comes up in the readings about breaking generational curses so frequently, because there's this thing going on with the maternal where not all of us, not maybe everybody watching this, but a lot of us have dealt with things from our mothers, you know,
mm-hmm.
and our mothers have in turn kind of turned us into something that, like we just shouldn't be, towards whether it's
Uh-huh.
towards our fathers, whether it's towards our children, whether it's towards how we treat
As a family
ourselves,
member.
or even
Mm-hmm.
see ourselves. Because I think most women look at themselves as a reflection of their mothers. And I feel like
Uh-huh.
we are the spiritual reparations of our generation because we
Mm-hmm.
are breaking those chains. The first business I created was a business to manage all my other businesses, and that business is called Breaking Chains and Making Moves. And the reason why I did that was because I felt like I was that generational curse breaker, and I did not want to be my mom. I did not want to be my grandmother. Even when I do channelings and I talk to grandmothers who are actually, or were actually very good grandmothers, that makes me happy to see because so many did not receive that, from their bloodline. You get what I'm saying? So for
Mm-hmm.
us, it's up to us to change that because our mothers do look at us in a certain light because we are changing things. You know what I'm saying? That's why when I do the readings, I say
Mm-hmm.
this is not a projection, it's a reflection on the energy,
Reflection of it.
because people love to try to classify you. Someone asked me in the comments, am I a Christian? I've already said before, I am not a Christian. Um, and neither do I feel like people should try to subject me to, you know what I'm saying? I am a priestess. Okay, I am a priestess of voodoo. I am not a Christian. But the thing about it is like you have to accept people for who they are. I have tons of friends who are Christian. You get what I'm saying? I have tons of friends who are Catholic. You know what I'm saying? I my one of my father who took care of me, who raised me, his mother was Catholic, so which would be my grandmother. So I grew up around her in a Catholic sense. You get what I'm saying? Learning Catholic traditions. But I feel like titles are what divides us. You get what I'm saying? So if you know, so like if you who this person, I'm not going to say their name because I don't want to put them on the spot or anything, but I feel like when we begin to put titles on things, it divides us, and then you can no longer hear what this person is saying. Up, you said what I didn't want to hear. I don't agree with that. You're not a Christian. I don't want to listen to you. I'm gone now. And that's not fair to spiritualists or other people who have different beliefs, because it's like we should all be able to be in the room and be different. We are not going to be the same. You know what I'm saying? Tell me what you've experienced as a Christian dealing with people with reparations, and I will literally listen to your story. I won't sit up here and make you feel bad or try to judge you because of your belief, because you are free to believe how you choose to believe. And I think people forget that about being in the states. You know, the states has made it clear that you have the freedom of speech and religion. You know, and that's how it should be everywhere. You know, but some people feel the way that you know that they feel, and it's really nothing you can do about it. But it's just like one of those it is what it is things. But I'm me personally, I'm used to it because I've been getting judged my whole life. You know what I'm saying? But when people get to know me, they're like, yeah, that's not her. You know what I'm saying? That's not who she is. She's actually a really good person. You know what I'm saying? But as I was saying, I do feel like, yes, I do feel like we are part of our ancestors' spiritual reparations, because look at all the things that we're changing. Look at all the things that we are becoming. And that's not just for one race, that's for all races. Because my channel is filled with people who are all races. Look how we come together and we talk to each other. How we come together, and people literally get on my comments, and they're like, amen, thanks to Allah, or whoever it is they pray to, and I'm loving their comment because I respect you wholeheartedly. If this was 200-300 years ago, we would not be doing this now. So yes, we are the spiritual reparations, because we are changing things and making things for the better, for our, not only for us, but for our children, and generations to come. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I kind of feel about that. You know?
Agree.
Yeah, like I feel like once you open your mind up to everybody's not supposed to be the same, and not everyone is going to be the same, that's when you can truly grow.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? That's when you can truly grow. You know, because like I said, I've seen spiritual reparations of all kind, and that's why I say yes, it can come in the form of money. If you owe somebody money, one thing I've noticed, if you owe somebody money, you can never hold on to it. You get what I'm saying? It never seems like it's enough. Um, Everybody who's been on this live is owed some money. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, they're owed some money. And you guys are gonna, you guys are gonna receive it one way or the other. It's going to come to you one way or the other. Um Abundance is everybody who watched this live, abundance is gonna come to them. You know what I'm saying? That they came across this live for a reason. There's something in here for them. They may not be able to resonate with everything, but they will be able to resonate with some things, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel
Yeah.
like that.
Yep, yep,
Yeah.
yep, yep.
So, do you guys have
Okay. Well,
any more stories?
girl, I could talk to you all day. uh,
Cause I
it's just a
have
lot.
some. I have some, but I'm trying to let y'all go. But I do have
It's
some.
okay. So even with, like I said, with me, dealing with my dad's passing,
Mhm.
um, of course, when it first happened, you are like initially shocked. And
Mhm.
so, you know how when someone passed close to you, you may get an item or anything.
Mhm.
I didn't receive not one dime,
Mhm.
not not a necklace or a letter or anything. I remember my uncle saying, "Hey, I'm gonna give you and your siblings, because there's seven of us." And he was like, I'm gonna give y'all everything that was in your father's pocket." And so he claimed it was like a representation of what he had in his pocket. So each of us got $25 a piece, right?
Mhm.
Okay. And so to me, in a way, and then they divided my dad things among them. I never received anything. Okay.
Right.
And so as a child, I always felt like, um, they were able, my other siblings were able to get the full extent of him. They were able to move in with him. They had the experience of having him around on a daily basis,
Right.
except me, because, I have my own mom. So when
Right.
the death happened and everything was split, it was like, okay, yeah, everybody got their stuff here. And then, Kiara, you okay? And then, no, I'm not okay. But it was like, you know, how am I going to argue about what I should have,
Right.
And
Right.
so I realized in that moment that, yeah, okay, they might have got him in physical form, but
Mhm.
now in ways in that I look at everything, my dad shows up everywhere.
Right.
Whether it's
Right.
a dream, I might smell the scent of a cologne. I might be in a crying stage to where I'm crying so hard, but
Mhm.
I feel the warmth of a hug, and
Mhm.
it's things like that. So I feel like my reparations came from having him spiritually,
Right.
having him like be inside of me to make me pay attention to things that I need to focus on,
Right.
rather than, oh, let me hold on to this picture, or let me hold on to this shirt. And
Right.
it was like him saying, like, no, I'm bigger than that. Let's not I'm gonna show you in a different way, and how I'm gonna show up for you. And
Right.
so I think that's my comfort now, because I'm like, I used to be like, oh, I got to get a shirt made,
Don't make me cry tonight, Kiara. Don't make me cry.
like, I'm like, I needed. I'm like, I literally felt like I needed to have every picture on the wall, every word that was just like dedicated to him, until I got, because I came back home and realized he and felt his spirit, and it was like, no, you don't need that. That's
Right.
just something that's a temporarily fix. When now I can be able to, if you call me, I'm coming. You're gonna feel,
Right.
you're gonna feel me around, rather than you wishing like, dang, why I didn't have this time with you. And so I think that's what makes me feel more comfortable now. Because I'm
Mhm.
like, oh man, like I don't need the material things to prove that I got something from my dad. This is way
Right.
bigger than that.
Right. Cuz it
So
is
that's what I take comfort in.
it is way bigger than the material. You know what I'm saying?
Uh
Because
huh.
in the spiritual he can give you so much more. In the
Yes.
spiritual he can really see who you are now, so he can meet you there. But spiritually,
Uh huh.
you get what I'm saying? And it's like
Yeah.
that's something no one can take away from you. You get what I'm saying? That is nothing no one can take from you. You get to see your dad in a whole
Not
nother
even
light.
in the prison world, God dog it.
Right.
Not even in the prison world. Just
Yeah,
put that
because
out.
the
Yeah.
prison, we do have to talk about that at some point, but
Uh-huh.
the prison realm is really real. You know, it's something that I discovered too, and when I first talked about it with my mambo was like, a lot of our powerful ancestors were placed in this prison realm, you know, so they could not help us in the
Uh-huh.
physical, you know, and when she taught me how to unlock the prison realm and get them out, um I didn't only have to do it for my ancestors, but I had to do it for clients as well. And that's why I say, you know, spirituality ultimately determines who you are as a person, because
Right, right, right.
what type of work you take on. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I People call my business all the time, can you make somebody fall in love with me? No.
No.
But you're a descendant of
Simple
Marie
no.
Laveau. Your point. You
Right.
know, well, you need to be like her. Marie was like her. Marie Laveau was Marie Laveau. I'm not going to be my ancestor. She was already who she was. Why would I
Right,
do that?
Yeah.
Why would I be in competition with
Yeah.
her energy? You get what I'm
right,
saying?
right,
You know, no, you cannot fill those shoes. She was powerful beyond measure. You know, let her stay great. You know what I'm saying?
right, right, right.
So it's it's about things like that, because to a lot of people, you have to understand this is a fantasy. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
And to a lot of, that's another reason why I wanted to do the podcast, because a lot of people, they don't understand that hoodoo can actually be good. If you go back and look at any old slave movie, and there was a child who was sick, what did that master do? That master went and called that slave girl who knew her roots, bones, sticks, and that child came in there, told them what she needed. They went and got it. She put it on that stove, she boiled it, and that child, that family member, grandmother, whoever it was perfectly fine. So there is a lot of good to various traditions, not just hoodoo and voodoo, but it's the person behind it. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? It's
right,
the
right.
person behind it. And tonight we have talked about a lot of people who have done things in the light of not being such a good person. You get what I'm saying? Um, but in the other and on the other side of the fence, there are good positive spiritual reparations. You know, what I've noticed is having my business, because I've had my business. I first opened my business in 2006 after I got initiated, right? And so I've noticed that in doing the good work that I do, my business has been able to thrive all these years. You know, that's something that the divine, the Orisha, the Lawaz, that they have allowed, because I have chosen to be a good person. When you have ill intentions, your products are not gonna sell like that. You get what I'm
Right, right,
saying?
right.
And there is um unless there is a judgment, you know, about to come up. Okay, now look, I done gave you this chance. I even messed up the purchase a little bit, so you could go back in and decide if you really wanted to get those things, to do that to that person. You know, you know how those glitches happen in the system when you're trying to order something. To me, that's the spirits
Right.
giving you the chance. Hey, look, you sure you want to get that? You sure you want to buy that? You sure you need that? You sure you want to do this? Now, if you continue to go on to do that, then that's fully on you. So whatever comes next, you have to be prepared to take that. You can't bow down and cower away and not take it. You have to take whatever comes at you when you've put yourself out there like that for those things to happen. And that's why I say when I
Yeah.
look at these readings, I'm like, I always ask the divine, like, why does this keep coming up? And he's like telling me it keeps resurfacing because, you know, those unchosen are coming up against the chosen. And it's because they ultimately want to deter you. You get what I'm saying? That's why I said we are spiritual reparations. We're chosen ones. We are literally chosen to fight. Just the when this reading drop, I did it earlier today, but I'm dropping it like early in the morning. Um, when this reading drops, it you it you guys are literally the Ace of Swords. You know what I'm saying? You're the Ace of Swords. You're the warrior who was chosen to fight the war. You get what I'm saying? And because you were chosen to fight this war, you are reparations in its most purest form. Because it also reminds me of the story of so many stories like what is his name? Da, 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 da. This movie just literally came on the other day. Um it's been her, I believe it is. You know, um in the movie Ben Hur, I believe it was Judah. I believe that's his name. He was done, very wrong by his stepbrother. His brother treated him very badly, and their father believed, that they could bridge the gap, with all the things that were going on in the nation. He believed that they could bridge the gap, but the other brother just treated him so bad, and in the end, the good brother won. You get what I'm saying? And that's why I say it's a story old as time, because it just keeps resurfacing on how us chosen ones just literally come up to do good. It's in all the TV shows, it's in all the movies. That's why it's always good
Yeah.
versus evil. And please understand that these people do have a choice. These people have a choice whether they want to stay and be a bad person, or if they actually want to be a good person. But it's up to them to choose and decide what they ultimately want to do. And the crazy part about it is that a lot of them choose the wrong way. A lot of them
Yeah.
choose the wrong way. And this is where reincarnation comes in, because when you reincarnate, you're yet given another chance to do right. How many people have been
Yeah.
in a situation where they've like, oh, something saved my life, in this instance. That means you have a chance to do something better. So are you going to do something better, or are you going to continue on the path that you were on? Ultimately, it's up to you. You get what I'm saying? Why you're still here
Yeah.
on this earth. The same thing with the Haitian Revolution. The Haitian Revolution was spiritual reparations in its purest form. You know what I'm saying? And being taught about, because they're like, some people was taught certain things about the Haitian Revolution, but I was taught things by real Haitians, you know. And from what I learned from my Haitian family is the they were trying to defeat the Haitians, but they could not defeat them, and that was because they had the power of the ancestors and the Orisha behind them, which is why they succeeded, you know, within that revolution. You know, there are just so many different stories, and this is why I say you have to research, because certain people base information off only what they know, but then there are certain people who are a part of a culture, so they can tell you more, you know what I'm saying, about what's going on within that culture. And when I began to find those things out, I was like, wow, that's powerful. You know what I'm saying? That's actually powerful because they were reparated and they still stand strong to this day. You know, to a lot of people, the country may not be the best, but at least it's theirs. You know what I'm saying? And they can move forward. You know, people ask me what I thought about this election and that. Honestly, I honestly felt like none of us need a president. If you want me to be honest, I feel like the people
Mm-hmm.
of the states know what it is they want, and I feel
Mm-hmm.
like if all of these people would get out of the way, then
Right.
we could sit and talk with each other. You get what I'm saying? And we can
Mm-hmm.
do we
Uh-huh.
can do better for us than anyone else can do for us. You get what I'm
Exactly.
saying? That's just how I feel. I'm not
Right.
I'm not going to say that I'm against this candidate or I'm against that one, but I that's just how I feel. You know, I feel like we're better when we work together. You get what I'm saying? Because
Mm-hmm.
we do have people who are fighting for our best interests. I will say
Right.
that.
Right.
We do have people fighting for our best interests, but I feel like we could fight better for ourselves because we internally know what we want and we know what we need. And there are so many women and men out here who know how to utilize their hands, who know how to
Right.
utilize their voices, and who have all this knowledge, who have all this understanding. And I feel like this country is really made up of a lot of great people. I think there are great people on this live, but I also think that these people are not able to show really who they are. You know what I'm saying? And what they can possibly be. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's just how I personally feel. Um, I feel like a lot of people are just not given a chance. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like I was saying about the gifts earlier. That's why so many people are afraid of their gifts because they've never been given a chance. And it's like, a lot of people feel like, oh my God, I did this. I'm making this happen to a person. You didn't make that happen. Somebody was reparating you on your behalf. Um, I know a lot of you are probably wondering what happened to the people who treated you bad, when you grew up. A lot of those people have passed on, you know, to be honest with you. A lot of them have passed on. Um, when I was born, I had three sets of godparents because my parents who took care of me were very old when they got me. My spiritual mom was in her 70s when she got me. You see what I'm saying? So they made sure I had a lot of people to take care of me. And one of the godparents that I had, they left me $500,000 for me, and then they left money for my firstborn. Well,
Mm-hmm.
my mom who took care of me, she had a son who had money as well. So like they were good where money was concerned. But
Mm-hmm.
the thing about it was when she died, the family didn't even have enough respect for me to put me in the in the obituary thingy. I forgot what it's
Oh
called.
my God. Yeah,
Yeah,
the
they didn't.
obituaries. Oh my
And
God.
her daughter stood up in the church that I grew up in and was like, "Did we forget any other family members?" while looking dead ass at me. So
That's crazy.
so I was so livid. Like I was so livid. My leg was shaking so hard. I thought my legs was finna fall off because you have to understand something. Everything that I know spiritually that I learned from this woman, um she was gone. I was looking at her feet across from me in a casket trying to figure out how am I supposed to live my life without her. You get what I'm saying? When my she's the one who introduced me to my mambo, and my mambo told me that I was gonna be her last godchild. And I was like, well, why am I gonna be your last godchild? She was like, I'm gonna teach you, I'm gonna teach your daughters, but after that, that's it, because my time here is done. You are supposed to replace me. I did not know what that meant, but she later told me that she had cancer. Okay. Now, me and my mambo really bonded because there was a point in time where I had cancer too. Okay. And this is why I keep telling people that herbal methods work, because they were having me on certain medication and the medication wasn't working. It was actually making it worse. So I went to the divine most high. I went to my Loas, I went to the Orishas, and when I tell you that they healed me, they healed me. They told me what I needed to do, what I needed to take. If you do have somebody who, that's sick, and you need some remedies, let me know. Still check with your doctor. I'm still gonna say that, but things like sour sop, that works. Teas help a lot. Fruit is highly essential for you to take. Um, what else was I gonna say? The meat. If the meat is cheap, don't eat it. You know what I'm saying? There's a reason why steak costs $33. You get what I'm saying? There's a reason why. Yeah, it's same thing here, Feather. It almost took me out. Like my eyebrows like were leaving. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I still have to like color in my eyebrows, but I'm like making these oils and stuff now to like fill my eyebrows in and to grow them back, and it's growing them back. My hair was always falling out. Now, my hair is going down my back. You know what I'm saying? And imagine hearing that you have cancer after having twins. So the first thing I thought was I was not going to be able to be there to raise them. So, like I said, a lot of things they taught me. My elders were old. I still have a lot of elders, but it makes you ugly, or the doctors just want to cut on you. Yeah, it does. It makes you look so crazy. Like I really, like, no lie, I really be, because everybody's asking me too, like, yeah, it is all about the money. That's why they replaced, because if you guys go back in the history, go back and look up apothecaries. We had apothecaries before we had pharmacies. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, hoodoo, voodoo, those are literally our methods of healing. Like I watched my spiritual mom who raised me. I've watched her heal people from cancer. There are people who I've healed. Brittany's on live with us right now. With Kane Erica, and she'll tell you I healed her father. You
Yep,
know,
yep, yep. Sure did, sure did, sure did.
and I stay on
I'm
him.
working.
I
And
stay
still
on
working, I was
him.
about to say.
Cause Brittany lost her mom to cancer, and a lot of you guys don't know this. Stop drinking that Simply Orange juice. Stop drinking that. Watch what you drink.
Please
Look
talk
it
about
up.
that, people.
Look up a lot of the things that you're eating and you're putting into your bodies. This is why we are chosen. This is why our body rejects those things. Why does your stomach hurt after you eat? Why does your baby scream and yell after you've given them a certain formula? You get what I'm saying? Um before before I even got pregnant this time, I was researching milk, okay? 2 years before I even got pregnant, because I was like, something is up. I found out that the milk that they give you at the hospital when the baby is born, go look it up, is full of lead and heavy metals. And you're wondering why the babies are screaming to the top of their lung, oh, or throwing up, you know what I'm saying, after eating the food. And they're like, oh, the baby just has acid reflux. That baby doesn't have acid reflux. That baby is projecting that throw up like that because it's trying to get that poison out of their system.
Right, right,
You know what
right,
I'm
right.
saying? Like you're being poisoned even as a newborn. You know
That's
what I'm
crazy.
saying? So imagine we sit up here and we ask ourselves, why do these people do these things that they do? Why are they doing this and that? You get what I'm saying? It's because they are trying to hurt us chosen ones. You get what I'm saying? But our bodies automatically reject it. That's why I say pay attention. You go eat certain food. There's a woman who did a video on, she has like this McDonald's hamburger for 24 years, and it still
Oh
looks
yeah,
the
I've seen that.
same, you know. So it's like you literally have to watch what you're putting in your body, because this is spiritual. You get what I'm saying? This is spiritual. Yes, it is a part of depopulation. You know what I'm saying? It is a big part of depopulation, because they don't want us to know what we're doing. But we have to realize, chosen ones, that this is the enemy that we're fighting. You get what I'm saying? This is why I say, in that video I told you, I read the energy so clearly when I did that reading earlier. And the divine was saying, you are the ace of swords. You are the one to cut through everything that is meant to hurt you, to stop you from achieving, from doing the things that you are here to do. You are really here to do great things. And the people around you who don't understand it, that's because it's not their story. This is not one that will be written by them. This is one that will be written by you. And they are not meant to understand your path, because your path was given you, it wasn't given them. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, that's why I was saying, how do you think I felt? I had, at that time, I had 4 kids, and I was like, I'm not leaving this earth. I'm gonna
Right.
fight this thing. I went to my mom. I found my mom again. I went to my mom and I told my mom, I'm like, the doctors are saying that I have cancer. And she was like, well, I don't know what to tell you to do. And I was like,
The what?
wow.
The
I was
what?
like, wow, okay. So I'm basically dying and you don't care. Great.
That is crazy.
So I told my spiritual mom, and I was crying, and she was like, what do you expect from a woman who doesn't even love herself? You know? And
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the spirits have given my mom and my family, just in general, a lot of chances to get it together. This
Mm-hmm.
last time I talked to my mom, I just, I had to get everything off my chest. It was a part of me healing and moving forward. And I was like, you treat me like a disease. You treat me like I asked to be here. And I just kind of, I
Right.
didn't go off. I was very intellectual about what I was saying. I got all my words out. I wasn't rude, but she then invited me to come to the family reunion. And I was just like, I'm not going to that. I believe that was my mom's last time to treat me right. Because one thing about our bloodline, nobody looks their age. I'll be 40 next month and I look like I'm 15 years old. Okay? And my mother actually looks like what my grandmother should look like. You know?
Mm.
Um I believe my grandmother is a lot older than what she is. What she says, I believe she's been here. I actually believe my grandmother has been here for over 200 years in the same body that she's in. My grandmother looks like she's in her 30s. Okay? My grandmother looks like she's in her 30s. Does she do all positive magic? No. No, she doesn't. But there was this time where I told my grandmother, I was like, look, I can't deal with this back and forth. Either you guys are going to be in my life or either you guys are not going to be in my life, type of thing. And she was like, you know what, I'm going to tell you about Marie. I'm going to tell you about our family. And all of this, because you're the only one in the family who can break the curse. Be very mindful when your family tells you that, because you can go breaking something that was meant to stand and you ain't supposed to be breaking, you know? So there are curses on our families that we are meant to break, but there are ones that we are not meant to break, and we can end up receiving spiritual reparations by touching something we ain't supposed to touch. This is why readings are important. This is why having a close relationship with the divine is important, because you can go to them, you can use these tools, these spiritual methods, to find out if you're really supposed to be doing something. Before I did anything in my situation, I went to the divine, and I dedicated my life to helping people. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, people call me, message me, and ask me all the time to do love work or do curses and hexes on people. I turn them down, and they're like, "So you don't want the money? Because I have the money now. I don't care how much money you got now. You can't pay me. You can't pay me $1 million. You can't pay me $2 million. You can't pay me $50 million to curse someone. Do you know why? Because whatever you try to pay me, if I was to accept, I am going to reap more than that in reparations. And I'm not going to do that to myself, and I'm not going to do that to my family. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't believe that the divine most high creator is real. That is a real being. That is a real being. I have got on YouTube and done videos and said, through tears, the divine is tired. The divine is so tired. He is tired. His wife is tired. They created this planet, and people sit here and try to run everything, for money, and cause the people on the planet problems. So yes, he has to have people who are appointed, people who are anointed, with the ability, with the know-how. The knowledge is what I mean, of using herbs to heal and to help, because the truth of the matter is, if everything goes dark, there's still going to be sick people, and how are you going to take care of the sick if you don't even know what herbs to use? So I'm very like on point using using herbs to heal yourself. Like, before, I mean, and if you don't even want to work with me, go on Amazon and buy you some herbal healing books. And the books will tell you. I've spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on books, just so I can make my own medications. You know what I'm saying? For clients, who need them, so I can help them, because I do have, outside of this business, I do have other businesses, which is why I was telling you guys in the top part, I created Breaking Chains and Making Moves to manage all my other businesses, because I'm here for a set of purposes. I'm not just here for one purpose. This is why I was also in law school, because I knew that I would be good, far as helping people legally. So there are a lot of things that I'm good at, but you have to give people a chance to experience you and the things that you know. You know, again, people who can't afford to take classes with me can watch these podcasts, and they can learn through my experiences, through you guys' experiences, and it can help them. Brittany said she wanted to pop off and go off on a girl, but she didn't. She could have went the other way, but she didn't, because she had learned how to humble herself. Kiara found other ways to be happy about a situation that made her sad. She realized that she had actually gained an angel. You know what I'm saying? She had gained an angel, someone who could look out for her and help her on the other side. So, like I said, this is really just overall beautiful, because when you begin to talk to people, you begin to learn their experiences. Like a lot of people who are on my channel watching baby readings, they suffer from fertility issues. I can tell you literally how to clean out your whole system so you can become pregnant, because a lot of the times it's imagine, like I told you guys, from birth they give you this milk. I'm not going to say the names of it, but from birth, if you had a child, you know what milks. They give you two options in the hospital. Both options have heavy metals in it. Go look it up. You have your phone in your hand right now. Go look it up. And when you look it up, you're going to be like, hold on, wait. What else has metals in it? You get what I'm saying? It's in shampoo, it's in conditioner, it's in foods, it's in fruit, it's in so many things. And this is why I got fed up one day and I was just like, look, baby, we finna pull our kids out of school. I'm gonna teach our kids. We took a room, we had an extra room in the house, and I made them a whole classroom. And everybody pitched in and everybody helped. And people were like that we knew were coming over recording, like, oh my god, she made a whole classroom, it's beautiful. But I also started planning my own food. The food that I planted, that I ended up eating, it didn't taste like anything else. Like the eggs that my chickens lay, they don't taste like the eggs from the store. And I'm gonna tell you guys something too. You know how in the store, this is funny. I know y'all gonna be like, why is she laughing? But you know how in the store they have like white eggs, and then the brown ones they call organic. You do know there's no such thing as an organic chicken, right?
Oh hell.
I thought that I living in the South.
Yeah, there's no such thing as an organic chicken. So, because people are like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go get them organic eggs. Like, babe, there is no such thing as an organic chicken. Um, I'm a farmer girl, so white chickens normally produce white eggs. Okay. The red chickens, they're like brownish looking, but they call them red. They produce brown eggs. And the chickens, it's another kind of chicken we have too. We call him Eagle. And he produces blue and green eggs. Okay. He produces blue and green eggs. So it really depends on the type of chicken that you have, that will determine what type of eggs you get. You get what I'm saying? That's what it's based on, the type of chicken it is, because they all don't lay the same eggs. But if you go to, and everybody's talking about the egg shortage, right? So I'm finna tell you a way out of it. Go down to your local feed store. Okay, your local feed store should have chickens. All right. Now they may not have adult chickens, but there are people who sell adult chickens. So if you need you some eggs, go type in Google or Safari, type in egg laying chickens, and then you can like hit the little shopping button or something like that. And you can get you full grown hens, in your area. You may have to drive a little bit, you may not. It just depends. Some people even ship them to you. I would get them to ship them to me sooner rather than later. Our chickens are not in some crushed up cage. The pictures that I see, the videos that I see online are completely horrifying, because when you get eggs out of a store, that's what you're getting. These are people who have mass production of eggs because they have all these chickens cooped up. Our chickens just run around. Like our chickens just like they run around, they're not confined. anytime they have to be confined is to like clean them. You get what I'm saying? Some people don't even clean their chickens. We clean them and keep them clean because when you don't like, we take care of our yards and we put like certain things out there in the yard to stop bugs and things like that. But you guys can raise your own chickens. You could get you 2 chickens. But you have to make sure that you're giving them the right food. um you can give them corn. They love corn. And another trick to them laying eggs faster is buying the feed for them to lay eggs, because they do have egg laying feed, and these chickens will produce you some eggs. I'm telling you, we be having so many eggs, it don't be nowhere to put them. But let me tell you the thing about the eggs. When they lay the eggs, you have to wash the eggs off, okay? You have to refrigerate the eggs. So you want to make sure that you have one of those egg station things that you can buy from like Burlington or on Amazon, and you rotate your eggs. You have to keep your eggs put up for 3 weeks to a month before you can use them. So I'm telling you, the date that you see in stores don't even really be the date that the eggs go bad by, unless those eggs have been around for months before they give them to you. You get what I'm saying? Because like I said, we had so many eggs in our refrigerator. We had to put like a sign out in the front yard and was like, hey, look, free eggs. And people went, we were like, hey, be kind because other people are gonna come up. Like when
Yeah.
like a lot of times when our dogs have puppies and it's just too many puppies to to have, hey, free puppies. You know what I'm saying? One time I was going outside, and I think we was getting ready to go somewhere, and my neighbor was watering my plants. She was like, girl, you got it growing out here, we can't. And she's an older lady, she's like in her 70s, and she was like, we can't let this greenery go to waste. She was like, you don't mind, do you? And I was like, no, you water my grass, I water yours. So our boys, they take her trash out, they like, cut her grass and all of that. We've been on 111 minutes, so 111. Um, but yeah, like we do so many things like that, and that's because, like I said, I got sick. When I got sick, I learned to eat differently. You know what I'm saying? I learned to eat differently. I learned to do things differently. Like even in pregnancy, you have to eat a certain way. You have to take your fruits and your vegetables, but you have to be mindful of where you're getting those things from. You know what I'm saying? That's why I say if it costs more, it's better for you. It may not be better for your pocket, but it costs more. And that even goes back to spiritual workings, because people get in these groups, and some people come to me and they're like, well, your work on your website is high. And I'm like, yeah, my work is high, but it works, and I allow payment plans. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, when you work with me, you'll never there's never a point where you feel like you're getting took or something is not working, because you'll know for a fact, like, oh yeah, it's working. You'll feel it, you'll see it. So it's like,
Yeah.
if something is cheap, buyer beware. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
it's not good for you. You get what I'm saying? It's not good for you at all. Like, if a hex breaker should not be $300. Somebody shouldn't be trying to tell you, oh yeah, I can do a light breaker for you. There is no such thing as a light hex. You get what I'm saying? um sometimes your spiritual reparations come in when you do reversal work, when you do that return to
Mhm.
sender. Oh, baby,
Mhm.
let me tell you. When
Mhm.
you,
Mhm.
my ancestors, another spiritual story, spiritual reparation story. My ancestors came to me in a dream vision. Now, if you know me, you know that I believe that when you are sleeping, you are in when your body is sleeping, your external body is awake and is now in the spiritual realm. There are two sides
Mhm.
to you. Just like there's night and day, okay? You have a
Mhm.
physical body and you have your external body. Okay? Your external
Mhm.
body
Mhm.
awakes when you go to sleep, which is why sometimes when you hard headed and you fight your sleep, they put you to sleep.
Mhm.
You, oh, I
Mhm.
fell asleep and didn't know it because your external body has a job to do in the spiritual realm. So,
Mhm.
this one time, the spirits took me and they showed me who my enemies was. And when I
Mhm.
say that I saw the look on the divine's face, and I never want the divine to look at me like that,
Mhm.
you know.
Mhm.
So they were, he was standing and they were showing, and when he was showing me,
Mhm.
when they were showing me my enemies and what the enemies were doing, they said, now this is what I want you to do. So I
Mhm.
went
Mhm.
and I did the reversal work.
Mhm.
When I
Mhm.
tell you, my enemies didn't know whether they asses was up, left, north, south,
Mhm.
east, or west. You get what I'm saying? It was so many things happening to them, and it was crazy because it was like when I woke up from that experience,
Mhm.
my
Mhm.
phone my phone was completely blowing up. Okay? My phone was
Mhm.
completely
Mhm.
blowing up.
Mhm.
And I was like, wow, not my enemies messaging me telling me that they have all these issues and problems and can I help?
Mm.
And the divine said
Nope.
it was you
No.
you making me laugh, but it was just like that. The divine was like, and no you ain't. I dare you. No, you not. You not finna help your enemies because your enemies put themselves in that position, you know?
Exactly.
And I was just like, well, child. Mm, mm,
Mm.
mm, mm, mm. You know? And one thing that I really disliked about about having to about the spiritual reparations is, like I said, there are innocent people who get messed up within these casualties. And
Mhm.
for those again of you who don't know me, who are new to my channel, or who haven't been on this ride for me since with me since 2006, I was being attacked by 7 voodoo houses at once. Okay, my house is the house of Legba. I am a
Mhm.
mambo. Okay, I got initiated into voodoo in 2006. I initiated into Santeria in 2016. So my initiations are 10 years apart. Okay, my
Mhm.
most recent initiation was back in 2022, but it started back in 2019 for IFA. So I could
Mhm.
go
Mhm.
and learn the ways and stuff like that, and not giving anything away, but like you do have to stay in the temple in Africa for like 3 to 4 months. So
Mhm.
you when
Mhm.
you initiate, you kind of like have to go back and forth, which is why they tell you when you initiate, which we will discuss in another episode, but you need to initiate to someone who you can travel to, or who is close to you or
Mhm.
whatever.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
when I did this, um this group of people were highly upset because they were trying to figure out who my elders were. We had
Mhm.
became friends on Facebook. Now I'm gonna tell you guys something. All of you who are looking into spirituality Nine times out of 10, 10 times out of 10, you've even bought their books. Okay? I am not going to tell you their names, okay? Because I'm not going to be sued for defamation, but I am going to tell you to be very mindful of what you buy when you're buying these spiritual books online, because you have to remember that there is an author behind that book. And if you go look up these authors, a lot of them have um, Facebook pages. Well, all of these authors were, and this is in 2020. So there was a book that dropped in 2020. If you know, you know. But there was a book that dropped in 2020, and everybody was going crazy over the book. And they were like, "Oh, what do you think about the book? What do you think about the book?" I'm giving secrets away here. The same author of that book is the same person who did a ritual, and it was supposed to be like a cleansing ritual, and this lady died from it. So we're going to get in that. Let me tell you guys what episode that is for those of you who want to see that episode. That will be da, 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 da. I believe that is episode 6. Episode 4, which will be next Tuesday, is what really happened to Kate Rustin. Okay, now if you guys are on, these platforms, you've heard the stories about, what happened to her. It's just me. I'm gonna give you my story about what happened to her. Because everybody's saying no, she was looking to get Papa Legba, and she got Baron Samedi. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Y'all just gonna have to wait. I'll tell you next episode who she really got. But I'ma just, yeah, y'all gonna have to wait. Y'all gonna have to wait. You like, oh, you got me on the edge of my seat now. You got me on the edge of my seat. What happened? No, because what happened to her could happen to anybody. Okay, seriously, what happened to Kate Rustin could happen to anybody. And every person who has become a godchild of mine, ever since that happened to Kate Rustin, I make them do a report on Kate Rustin before they can even be accepted in, because it's important that you understand what you're dealing with before you go in and you deal with something like that. You know what I'm saying? So these people I'm telling y'all about, like I said, like we talked about in episode 2, because everybody here missed episode 2. In episode 2, we were talking about something similar around this story about what happened. And this group of people were attacking me. They were out of New York, out of New Jersey, and they were upset with me because they wanted me to join their house. They found out that I was giving out, classes. So all of a sudden, this group of people came up with a whole collegium, they called it, a school to teach spirituality. But the crazy thing about it was, which you guys will learn in episode 6, these people, a lot of them end up going against each other because a lot of the times they don't trust each other. So this is why episode 6 is titled Spiritual Communities and What You Should Know Before You Initiate. Because like I said, you get into something that you can't get yourself out of, and then boom, here come the spiritual reparations. This is why Spiritual Reparations podcast had to come first before this one. You get what I'm saying? So my thing is, I didn't do what these people wanted me to do. I wouldn't join them. So these 7 houses came in and they all attacked me. Like they literally all attacked me at once. And like I said, the divine showed me. So when the divine showed me and I returned to sender, there is, if you like I said, if you type in Lineage Witch Chronicles on my page, you'll see one of the episodes where I tell what happened to my enemies, and you'll see the post from my Facebook where it was 7 planets in retrograde at one time, and there were 7 hurricanes in the ocean at one time. Okay, now in my belief, I believe these some of these areas that were attacked because of spiritual reparations. I don't I feel so entirely bad for the people caught in between. You get what I'm saying? And this is why I'm speaking on this, because I need people to be aware of what they're doing, because it puts other people in some type of bondage. All I did was I did a reversal. Okay? So if you don't know what a reversal is, you guys, a reversal is a return to sender spell. Anytime someone puts a hex, a curse, a jinx, a crossing, whatever on you, you can reverse it. Okay, you can reverse it. And when you reverse it, it sends it whatever energy, whatever demons, thoughts, spell work, whatever it is that they send to you, it will return to them. So when it began to hit these areas, this other priest, he put don't touch my anointed. And I was like, so you know, so that was my notification, my spiritual notification, that you told them not to do it, but they didn't listen. Because the let's just be real, half of the people who are dabbling into this spell work, half of the people who are doing this spell work, they are not going to have any divination done before they do these things.
Mm-hmm. It got to do it.
And if you're not consulting with a higher power before you do something like that, then that's just not going to turn out well for you. You know what I'm
Right. And
saying?
some people don't even do the protection for themselves either. They don't. They just go ahead and start.
Yeah,
They
no,
don't think
no, no,
about,
no,
should
no
I protect
casting of a
myself?
circle,
Yeah.
not doing it in a sacred area. Like there's a reason why
Yeah.
they say have a sacred area, because and a circle, because when you go into calling on spirits, what and who are you calling in, and how many spirits are
Calling them to.
actually there? you know
Right.
that's why I said after episode 3, it had to be. It just had to be what happened to Kate Rustin, because I don't think everybody even knows or is really prepared for what really happened to her, you know. And not saying that, she was right in what she did, because she shouldn't have done that. But when you have your mind made up to do something, no one can ultimately try to stop you, because you know people did try to tell her, hey, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. And those spiritual reparations came right on in. You see what I'm saying? And it's like, if me speaking on this or any of these topics can save somebody's life, I'm all for it. If it can educate somebody, I'm all for it. I don't care if only 2 people watched the live. At least 2 people heard the information, and those 2 people can carry on that information and teach someone else. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what it's about. It's about educating And even though we do have certain topics, the topics are going to kind of go in other areas because there are other things that we need to talk about. Like there are a lot of valid points that um Kiera brought up too. You know what I'm saying? Like there were a lot of valid points. Like that's why I wanted you guys to talk to them about episode 2, because we talked about a lot in episode 2.
Mm-hmm.
What did we talk about? It's been a long week. Hold on.
Cuz I was even telling you guys how how with these same people that were attacking me, um I was in the dream realm once again, and Baron, I had on some fishnets. Cause if you know me, like this is really how I dress. Like I had on fishnets, I had on a skirt, I had on a leather jacket, and I had on some boots and or some heels. And when I'm sitting up here, in this room, I'm like, what is this? There was like this red light on in this room. And I was like, I can feel it. It was some type of building I was in, but I couldn't tell exactly what the building was. And I knew immediately that my family was in danger. So I was like, Papa Legba, I need you. Now, keep in mind, I already told you guys what I had on. So I didn't have anything to make of a vase, okay? Because in Vodou, some people use chalk, some people, use corn flour and other things to make vase. So I didn't have anything to make a vase is my point. So I put my finger, my pointer finger on my tongue and began to write Papa Legba's vase with my finger. And when I did that, Papa Legba appeared, and I was like, Papa, I need you to let Baron Samedi, Mama Bridget, and the Gidi come through because I need their help. Me and my family are in danger. And the way that Mama Bridget came, Baron, when I get to Baron, I just need y'all to understand Baron always has to make an entrance. But when Mama Bridget came in, she came in right in front of me. You know what I'm saying? And it was like such a beautiful, like, I wish I could describe it more, but it was like, imagine coming in through smoke and then coming into full body. You get what I'm saying? It was just so beautiful how she came in, and she was like, what's going on? And I'm like, they're hurting my family. They're hurting my family. Baron, like I said, had to make an entrance. So he slides down this winding staircase, and he's like, what's going on? And I'm like, Baron, they messing with me. They messing with my family. I need your help. I need the Giddy help. The Giddy is so goofy, y'all. And so they were laughing. And I'm like, Baron, like, you told me, if I need you to call on you. He was like, yes, I did. I told you. Anytime you call the lower, oh, we coming. So he's like, you know what you're asking us. And I was like, I know what you're asking us, but my family is in danger. And my enemies are not just attacking me, but they're now attacking my family. And I don't play about my family. And Papa Legba was like, we don't play about your family either. So the Giddy still laughing. They like, well, you know what we gonna do, don't you? And I was like, look, what y'all do don't have anything to do with me, because these people chose to mess with my family. So when I tell y'all, they poofed me out of the building, and one by one, my family members came out of that building. You could hear people screaming, yelling, but it wasn't my family. It was the enemies trying to attack my family. And when I woke up yet again, so when they tell you that your enemy is always going to tell on themselves, or
Mm-hmm.
or that things will happen to your enemy and you'll be able to see it, believe it. Okay? Because
Yep.
yet again, I woke up to messages and enemies asking me to help them because they had this weird dream. They were dream walking and something happened during the dream walk. But what they neglected to tell me is that while they were dream walking to try to hurt me and my family. So when my family woke up that day,
Mm-hmm.
y'all, why everybody
Mm.
had the same dream.
That's crazy.
Oh
Now,
wow.
that's another thing I want you guys to look up. Go do your homework and see how many people have had the same dream before. These people were literally in the same dream because it's very crazy. There was another situation where I had a choice. I could talk to Papa Legba or I could talk to my great great grandfather. I really wanted to choose my great great grandfather because at the time that I had this particular experience, I had not too long ago left the res where I was learning
Mm-hmm.
about my grandfather, my great grandfather, and who he was as a chief because my dad's family after them, their people coming from where they come from, they were living on the reservation. They took up residence on the reservation, okay? Cuz
Mm-hmm.
his mom his mom is actually from her mom is from Haiti, I believe. So my great great grandmother, no, my grandmother is from Haiti or something like that. So my dad, um, my dad was it's my second great grandmother. That's who it is. My second great grandmother is from Haiti because
Mm-hmm.
my great grandmother was born in St. John Parish. So her mother was from Haiti and they came from Haiti to the States. So yes. Um Forgive me, pregnancy brain. So so they ended up um going to the reservation, being taken in by the natives. And when they were taken in by the natives, obviously, huh?
Somebody in the chat for the system back then because they said, "Do you do yeah."
Yeah. Um that when they did that, it was like they found people, that they liked, people that they wanted to be with, so it was like, okay, they begin to mate and so on. So this is how um my grandmother ends up meeting her husband on the reservation and they end up having my father. Okay. So I have to go into that story. It's like a very, very long story, but I do have to go into that at some point. But anyways, the things that they saw on the reservation, my dad would tell me how at night they would see things with red eyes. So if you know anything about the reservation, if you know anything about mountainous areas, especially
Mm-hmm.
like in Haiti, because like in Haiti it gets dark. Like how it gets dark in the States at night, it gets 100 times darker at night in Haiti. Like you can literally see nothing. And the rule in Haiti and the rule on the reservation are the same. Remember, I was telling you guys that a lot of things are the same. You don't go outside at night, and if you see it, you didn't see it. If you hear it, you didn't hear it. Okay, so this means if you hear someone calling your name, like have you ever heard somebody calling your name? Don't say yeah,
Oh
I
yeah.
hear you. Don't no. Because a lot of times that can be a
She
mimic.
said how much for fertility reading?
Mm-hmm.
For tell her to go onto my website, www.thebruhaslair.com, or tell her too that if she looks on my page, that on my YouTube page, that my contact info is in the description box, because she might not know what reading that she wants to book. I'm sorry, you guys. I still gotta handle business.
Yes,
So
yes, yes.
So yeah, so when when all of this happened, it was just like they were seeing things that they had never saw before. For some of them were new. You got to remember, you know, this is like a generation of people coming from one place to the other.
Mm-hmm.
And by this time, you know, it's like, wow, what do how do we respond to what we're seeing, to what we're dealing with? And the truth is, you don't respond to it, you don't deal with it, because this is a spirit of some sort. We call them land
Right.
spirits. You know what I'm saying? We call them land spirits.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing that my dad said, he was like, these things gave him night terrors. Now, I haven't
Mm-hmm.
heard nobody use that term in a very, very long time. But he
Right.
was
Right.
telling
Right.
me how one time he saw this thing outside with red eyes, and it wasn't, it could walk like a man, but it wasn't built like a man. You know what I'm saying? It was
Mm-hmm.
built like something else. And that's when he began to tell me about the power of shape shifting and being able to, you know, see all these things. So he would tell me that his mom, which is my great grandmother, would tell her stories that her mother told her from
Mm-hmm.
Haiti about Lugawoos and seeing these type of things. And that's one reason why, you know, how you ever had that feeling like at night, like, I really don't need to go nowhere, but you kind of force yourself to go
Yeah.
anywhere, somewhere, and then you
Mm-hmm.
see something
Nobody
crazy
tell
at
me don't
night,
go.
and you're like, what the hell did I just witness? You know, and it
Right.
also
Right.
makes
Right.
you
Right.
think, like, because in the States, have you really ever wondered why there are light poles everywhere?
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? Like, why are there light poles
Yeah.
everywhere? Why do they cut those trees down? You get what I'm saying? And build
Right.
houses and
Right.
things like that. Or why do kids say, I saw something outside of my room? You get what I'm saying? And that is
Mm-hmm.
because of the things that are out here. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
These things are
Mm-hmm.
out here. We didn't go when we went to school, when we went to public school, should I say. Public school didn't teach us spiritually. You see what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right. Right.
We need to be taught. Spiritual people need spiritual school. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right. Right.
That's why
Right.
I created my spiritual school, Knowledge Haven, you know, the realm for
Mm-hmm.
mystical
Mm-hmm.
frequencies, because we are mystical frequencies. And
Right.
when us
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
people with these mystical frequencies are placed into public schools, we're outcasts, you know. But
Right.
this is
Right.
why they
Right.
came up, you know, like with the Harry Potter school. You get what I'm saying? Although it's a
Mm-hmm.
movie,
Mm-hmm.
it's still a school created for gifted people. And
Mm-hmm.
when you begin to look at these stories, and when you begin to do the research on them, like my great grandmother, my dad told me she used to see all type of things in the bayou, you know, because
Mm-hmm.
that's where she was born, you know. So when she was born, her mother didn't have a hospital. They were in the bayou with alligators, you know what I'm saying,
Mm-hmm.
bugs
Mm-hmm.
and things like that. Like, my dad is so country that I tried to get him to get a cell phone when he came to live
Mm-hmm.
with us, so we could keep in contact with him. He was like,
Right. Right. Right.
nah, from where I'm from, if you go hello, 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 and you don't hear nothing, ain't nobody there. I'm like,
That's it.
okay, sir, so we are not in that time, you know.
Mhm.
I'm gonna need you to get with the times. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
it's, I do get how people live, because one thing about being on the reservation, I turned in my phone willingly. I told them
Mhm.
that I wanted to enjoy this experience, because the weirdest thing happened to me. So they do this thing where we were having like this weaving time, and we were learning how to weave,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
this woman was staring at me, and I was like, why is this woman staring at me like that? And she came over to me and she was like, "Remember who you are." And I was like, "I know who I am." She was like, "No, remember who you are." And I was like,
Mhm.
"Okay, ma'am, I do remember who I am." And then she yelled it. But when she yelled it, if you guys ever seen X-Men, have you ever seen Songbird, and how when Songbird yells, it shows like this echoing thing.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
My ear echoed for over 6 months.
Oh shit.
Yeah, there
Oh,
was an echo in my ear.
that's
And
crazy.
when I told this lady that I was working with on the reservation about it, she was like, she was like, that woman was never sitting in here. She was like, the woman you described, we never seen her. She was like, so
Oh wow.
that shit, right. So she was like, the lady you described, um, she was here, but she died. So I was like,
Oh.
okay. She was like, I'm gonna take you to her grave and show you, because they do have the graves, at the res.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
when I went to when I went to these graves, I could not help but cry, because these were my ancestors that they were showing me. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? And it was almost akin to what I felt in New Orleans, because it's just something about your feet walking the same path, the same road, the same
Right.
space that your ancestors have walked. And I was
Mhm.
so emotional literally the whole time I was there. Now keep in mind, while I'm doing all of this family history, while I'm doing all of, because this was all on my journey to finding out more about my family.
Mhm.
This was before I cut my dad off. Um while I'm doing this, I'm still being attacked.
Mhm.
You get what I'm saying? I'm still being attacked.
Mhm.
And it's crazy. It's just crazy, because people don't people I guess people have an ideology of who you are, what you're capable of, but a lot of times they really don't understand where you're actually going within your journey, and what you're doing and why this is happening. And in my experience, I feel like me going to that place was a part of the reparations, because my ancestors wanted me to know who they were.
Right.
There's another story that I did. I want you guys to know I never met my grandmother on my dad's side. I never met her. She died in church on Mother's Day.
Mm. Oh shit.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
she died. I believe that her death was a reparation for my father. Okay. But I also believe that what Kiera was saying, how this person has kind of like moved on to be able to help you in another realm, I feel like she moved on to
Mhm.
help me in another realm too. And I will tell you why. The night my dad moved in, I tried to send him a plane ticket. He said he don't fly. So I was like, well, you getting on the bus, because I didn't meet my father until I was 35. Like I told you guys, I'm 39 now, and I will be 40
Mhm.
next month. So the very night my dad moved into our house, there were three women who appeared to me. It was my
Mm.
grandmother. Why did I say that and the paper moved?
Mhm.
It was my grandmother, and it was her sisters. Okay, they called them the three sisters. All right.
Mhm.
In this dream, she said, "Don't trust him." And I was like, "Grandma, I don't trust nobody." She was like, "Don't trust him." And I was like, "Okay, baby, you got it. You a spirit. I'm not finna argue with you. You got it. I won't
Right.
trust him." But what shocked me as odd is the fact that my grandmother told me not to trust her own son.
Right.
you know?
That's wild.
So
That is wild.
talk about red flag, you know? So,
Mhm.
okay, the other two women, they looked at me and they were like, and you better not trust his ass either. That's like the look that they had on their face, like they were the
Mhm.
backup. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So I
Mhm.
woke up. I woke up, y'all, and I was like, what the hell? I'm looking around, and I'm normally everybody in my house, you know, go to sleep way after I do. You know, everybody was asleep. I was like, dang, ain't nobody I can talk to. And Papa Legba was standing right there in the doorway, and he was like, you could talk to me. Now, what you have to understand about Papa Legba is anytime before I do any divination, before you guys see my readings, I've already talked to Papa Legba. Because you have to go
Mhm.
to Papa
Mhm.
Legba first. You cannot reach any other spirit until you talk to Papa Legba first.
Right. Right.
He has to clarify this, right? So
Right.
I'm talking to him and I'm like, Papa, what's going on? He was like, you finna find out. And I was like, so what are you saying? My grandma was right. I should have never, because my grandmother on my mom's side, who is still living, she told
Mhm.
me to leave your daddy alone. He ain't gonna do nothing but mess up your life. I thought she was just being bitter, you know,
Mhm. Mhm.
because come to find out, y'all, and y'all will read this in my book, Spiritual Sauce. Um, my father not only was talking to my mom, but he was also messing with my grandma.
That's crazy.
Right.
That's
So
insanity.
this is ultimately
That's insanity.
this right. So this is ultimately why my mom and her mom had bad blood. You get what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Um
Mhm.
so I'm like, okay, I just had this weird dream. I had never, all I had up until that point, because when I found my dad, he told me to go on, like, he told me which family members to reach out to. And, you know, he told me where the pictures was, because the first thing I wanted was a picture of my grandparents. And,
Mhm. Mhm.
he told me the stories about them living on the reservation, and they ended up leaving the reservation because one of my grandmother's children died because it was so cold. Now you have to remember, they had,
Mhm.
back then they could only warm themselves by using fire, you know.
Right.
They didn't
Right.
have the luxury that we have now. So like, even when they put the heat on hell, I really try not to complain, because you know it could be way
Mhm.
worse and you could not have no heat. So I just really try to be thankful for the things that I do have. So it that dream, it just messed with me. Like, I couldn't sleep. So that night, literally that night, I couldn't sleep. So I said, let's take a shower, let's wash this energy off. You get what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So I took a shower. I was so adamant about taking a shower. You know, they say don't mix bleach and ammonia. I did that. I cleaned out the shower. I cleaned. I put Florida water all over it. I just flung it all around the tub, like, cause I was like, you know, what I experienced, and this, I'm gonna tell you why I did that, because when you experience what I'm about to tell you, I experienced when I got in the tub, that washes that negative energy down. Okay, so
Mhm. Mhm.
what happened was, when I got in the shower, because the shower was already clean when I got in it, but when I got in it, I felt like there was something behind me. So I looked behind me, and there was this demonic figure behind me with these long, weird looking nails, and it's like it was trying to touch me, but it couldn't touch me. So
Mhm.
I was like, oh hell no. You know, nothing should be able to get in my house. But what the
Right. Right.
hell did
Right.
I just let in my house when I let my father in? Do you get my point?
Right. Right.
Cuz
Right. Right. Let the hell
none
live
of
in.
this, when I tell y'all, it's called a threshold spell. So I believe that when you invite somebody in, You have to think about that. You know, we hear on TV about never invite a vampire in, but this is the thing. What happened when you invite people in? Because not only does what do they come in, what comes in with them?
Right,
You see what
right.
I'm
That's what
saying?
I said. What did he bring with him?
So
Because
this
this
is why
man
I mixed bleach and ammonia and almost took myself out. Okay, with the I don't advise anybody do that, but I, I I was trying to get it out. I had dragon's blood incense going. I had everything. So when I got out the shower and I palisantoed my body, something that you don't know, when you feel real heavy energy on yourself, cleanse yourself with the palisanto with the dragon's blood, and take the dragon's blood incense, take the palisanto, take the dragon's blood sage, and wand it on the bottom of your feet. Your feet carry the most energy because your feet are used for you to walk. Do you get what I'm saying?
right,
So
right.
just imagine all the places where your feet have been. So for all my people who like to travel, who like to tour, when you're visiting, I love New Orleans, but I do want to tell you that New Orleans is um one of the most sacred places spiritually. So when you go into these places, you need to actually have your head wrapped so nothing can mount you, okay? And you need to walk out of a lot of these places backwards so the spirits in there can't walk out with you. Okay, now
Right,
if I
right,
don't
right.
know if you guys have ever been to Cafe Mando, but if you've ever been there, there's an old legend that you can order your food and you'll wonder why your food has never come. And 9 times out of 10, because you ordered with a ghost and not an actual person. You get what I'm saying? So you like I said, you have to be real careful. Like, and if you're in a bad energy and you're like, oh, I want to go to New Orleans to make me happy, don't do it. Because 9 times out of 10, if you're not spiritually protected, you can bring something back home. And if it mounts you, what about your family? You get what I'm saying? New Orleans is a very beautiful place. Okay, but New Orleans, Las Vegas, Chicago, you know what I'm saying? A lot of more places, Texas, um Miami, you know what I'm saying? Cali, like
Carolina,
yeah, I ain't even got over there yet. They Alabama, Mississippi, they have such a rich history, you know what I'm saying? Like me and Kiara was talking about what happened in Alabama. Um you know, when that stuff happened in Alabama and everybody was saying spiritual reparations, do you know what I was thinking? I was thinking all of y'all need to get out that water. That's all I was thinking. That is all I was thinking, because I'm gonna tell you guys something. Y'all don't understand how bad the water is around this earth. You know what I'm saying? When that water is dark and murky like that, I want you to understand it ain't just fish in there. So I'm gonna leave it to you guys to use your head to realize how long these lakes and these man-made lakes have been here and what have been dumped and poured into that water, further making that water a breeding toxic ground, which is why we're going to talk about elemental spirits and current events in episode 7, because there's a lot going on spiritually that people just are completely unaware of, you know. So that too. But even upon leaving the res, they were cleansing me, and I was like, why are y'all cleansing me leaving the reservation? And they said, because we don't need any of the spirits trying to leave with you. You get what I'm saying?
right.
It's crazy because A lot of people talk about one area being hunted or this area being hunted. Everywhere is hunted. The whole earth is hunted because people have passed everywhere, and a lot of them have passed in some very unfortunate ways, which leads them to going to get their spiritual reparations. You get what I'm
Right.
saying? And it's like, I mean, y'all seen the stories, you know, where you hear about, oh, why do people keep mysteriously drowning
Disappearing
or
and
disappearing
drowning.
at this, you know, lake?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's because
Yeah.
of, look, some, you have to remember, a lot of these people who passed away in these waters, you know, hundreds and hundreds of years ago, um how can they be happy? You get what I'm saying? When
Right.
they pass so traumatically. You get what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
when they pass so traumatically, it causes them to be vengeant,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So this is why I tell you guys, you know, if you have a loved one who passed, don't be such in a rush to put their pictures up around a candle, because now you're summoning them and you don't know what part of them you're summoning. There was a woman, her boyfriend died, and she went to this witch. This witch did some dark magic to bring the woman back. The woman told her, you know, I can't guarantee you that this person is going to be the same that they were, you know, when they left. And the
Right.
woman,
Right.
I'll pay extra. I'll pay you whatever you want. Just bring him back. When the guy came back, do you think he was the same way he was when he left?
Nope.
Mm-hmm.
And he was
Oh.
actually very angry with the girlfriend because
Mm,
he died defending the girlfriend. There was a
mm,
situation that happened at, you know, at this certain place. I'm not going to say where, but they were at this certain place. There was an event that happened. Somebody stepped on somebody's, you know, shoe, and it became a
mm,
problem. And the guy got shot trying to defend his girlfriend, and he died. So
mm,
the girl was like, okay, well, now let's do some love spells to do this, that, and the third. Mm-mm.
mm.
That didn't work
Oh,
because
wow.
he got, it was like the more work that she did on him, the worse it got. So then she said, the woman had told her from jump though, don't tell him that you brought him back, and don't tell him about the spell work.
Right.
She thought, okay, I understand this woman is seasoned in her practice, but I'm gonna just go and say something anyway. So she went and
Mm-hmm.
said something anyway, and the dude damn near tried to beat the living daylights out of her and hurt her. So now she ends up, you know, finding out. Some stories say it one way, some stories say it another way. In the story that was told to me, the girl ends up finding out that she's pregnant, but my madrina was telling me what was she actually pregnant with.
Right. Right. Right.
You get what I'm saying? Because
Mm-hmm.
the woman would complain about like the baby, her feeling like the baby was trying to claw itself out of there, you know.
Mm,
And there are so many Haitian stories that, you know, that can go in the way of, like we talked about, the bad, you know, and the dark
right.
reparations. And it's just like I said, everything is not what people think it is or what it's believed to be. You know, a lot of these
Mm-hmm.
things are very serious, and that's why I, you know, I have to shed that light on it, because a lot of people just ultimately don't know. You know,
Right.
like
Right.
Kiara said, people don't know that when they're speaking on you, or when they're saying things, that it could cause this or that to happen. And that's because they don't realize that words are spells.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Somebody can
Right.
have they name, your name in their mouth, and the next day their teeth are falling out their mouth. or they got to go to
Yeah.
the dentist and they're trying to figure out why. But you have to watch what you speak, but you also have to watch what you speak on, you know?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, what else do you guys have for
Yeah.
the collective tonight?
Just be careful what you say. Be careful. Like, really take it
For
serious.
real.
I say, but ultimately, first, before you even do anything, understand that it starts at respect.
Mm-hmm.
If you want respect,
Mm-hmm.
you have to also respect whomever you call upon. You have to know what you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
respect that it could go either way, and to be prepared for it because you never know. Even on the person that you're doing it to as well, because you don't know how connected they may be,
Right.
and
That's
you
what
just
that's what I
blindly
say that.
moving into something. Yeah, and and that opens up a whole can of worms. So now you can curse your whole bloodline because you
Right.
wanted to do something off impulse and emotion versus just thinking more logically about it and researching and
Right. Right.
actually just having patience.
Right.
And because like a love spell, you're doing a love spell on somebody and not understanding that that person wasn't meant for you. So,
Right.
Right.
Holding
Right.
somebody's energy hostage, and like you just said, I tell
yeah,
people that all the time. Just like you got people, other people got other people too.
Exactly.
You
hmm
know? Cause
Exactly.
people will try to scare you with that. Oh, I got this person. Oh, I got that person. Oh, we gonna do this to you. We gonna do that to you. Okay, just know that them people got people too, and you don't know who
yeah.
somebody's protected by. You
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
don't know who
and
some.
Mm-hmm.
Cause
then it's both good and bad. So
right,
you might think, oh, they just know a lot of healers or this person or that person. They got people on the other side too. So
exactly.
it's
And
like
then and look, and then
it's
friends on
a
the other
mixture.
side is definitely the ones you need to be most worried about because
Yeah.
Exactly.
some of our ancestors are not healed. If we being
Mm-hmm.
honest, some of our
Mm-hmm.
ancestors are not healed, y'all. And that how we'll sit up here and say there were no fucks given. They don't.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
They don't, and
Mm-hmm.
they do not
Yeah.
need your permission. They don't need you to allow them to do anything behind
Uh-huh.
you. Oh yeah, they gon' find out about messing with the collective. The divine is not gonna come to you and ask you, "Hey, do you want me to
Yeah.
give justice to you on this?" The divine is just gonna go do it because he done already said before,
Uh-huh.
leave his people alone.
Exactly.
Leave his people alone. And
Exactly.
that's why I say it's good that you understand on both sides, because some people will turn around and be
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, ha ha ha, look what happened to you, and then the next thing you know, you laughing at somebody and then turn around and fell and broke your ankle because you laughing at
Uh-huh.
somebody's misfortune. So even when you receive your reparations, you don't laugh at somebody. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The
Right. Right.
goal is to never be like somebody ringing our doorbell. um Probably because I do have full moon work to do. But because the moon is, where are we at with the moon? Do 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 do. And yeah, we at 95%. We was setting up some stuff last night, but then like tonight we gonna go start to work or whatever, and it'll be at its fullest on the 14th. But I'm still gonna try to. That's why I'm still trying to get readings and stuff out, but I'm trying to schedule them to come in, so nobody's missing readings while I'm doing full moon work. But like,
Right. Right. Right.
I also even take the dogs barking as a symbolization because, like we were just talking about, they didn't start barking until we started talking about you don't know who people got on the other side, and
Uh-huh.
they like, right, show you right, because you don't. And you can
Yeah.
really mess yourself up like that. I feel like a lot of the things
Absolutely.
that happen to people don't even have to happen to people if they just do the right thing. you
Right.
you
Right.
even
Right.
talked about not having an inheritance. I've done videos on that, about people supposed to receive an inheritance and then not receiving it. And then how do you think these ancestors feel because
Uh-huh.
these people are not receiving what they're supposed to receive? So it's just a lot
Mm-hmm.
with that.
Yeah.
It's just a
Yeah.
lot.
Definitely.
So, do you guys want to talk to them about anything else that happened in episode 2, or y'all good for tonight?
I got nothing else.
You said you got something else?
I said, I don't think I got nothing else
Okay.
right at this moment.
You said what, Kiara?
I said no. I think we covered everything, and then I looked at my little tablet that I'm on, and it was 333, and so yeah. You already know what that stands for us, so I'm like, yeah, I
Right.
think we
Cause
covered
look,
everything.
I keep telling you, I keep telling you, Kiara, Papa is on you.
Yeah, he is.
Papa is on you. You hear the dogs barking. Papa is on you. So I really do
Look, he,
appreciate you guys for joining our live. Tune in to next week's episode where we will talk about what really happened to Kate Rustin. Peace, love, and abundance. See you guys in the next one.
Good night.